Since ancient times, stories about horrible, scary beings known as yokai have been passed down in every region of Japan. They were thought to live in a wild setting, in the mountains, by the sea, or alongside rivers. Any strange phenomenon that occurred far from human habitation was believed to be caused by yokai. The kappa is a water sprite thought to inhabit marshlands and rivers. It's one of the best-known yokai in Japan. Although the form and shape vary from one region to another, its general appearance is much like this. It has a green body, and it always keeps a curved plate on its head. If this were to dry up, the kappa would die. Towards the end of the Edo period, around 200 years ago, belief in yokai became particularly widespread. This scroll, called Hyaki Yagyo Emaki, shows tools that have been discarded by people, which have turned into yokai with a life of their own. Resentful of the humans who cast them away, they turn into yokai so that they can attack people as they roam through the city late at night. This four-legged yokai looks like a crocodile, but it was once a musical instrument, a koto. It's being tugged along by another yokai that used to be an instrument, a biwa lute. This yokai, a bit like a porcupine, has a shoe on its head. The next image on the scroll shows a sudden shaft of brilliant light. Because the yokai can only live in darkness, they are thrown into panic and scamper away. Originally, yokai lived deep in the wilderness, far from human habitation. But now they've begun to adopt familiar, everyday forms. The manga series called Gegege no Kitaro has remained hugely popular since the 1960s, right up to the present day. It's the story of Kitaro, a yokai with a strong sense of justice, who is on the side of humans and battles the evil yokai. It was created by manga artist Mizuki Shigeru. He has gathered data on more than 2,000 different kinds of yokai. Mizuki was born in Sakai Minato in Tottori Prefecture. This port town now has a street called Mizuki Road, which is lined with statues based on the yokai he has drawn. This has become a popular tourist spot. Most of Mizuki's creatures are based on the traditional folklore of rural Japan. One of Kitaro's companions is Konaki Jiji. This character was based on a story in a book by anthropologist Yanagita Kunio. Beto Beto-san is a yokai from Nara Prefecture, which follows people down lonely roads at night. This picture of yokai with eyes on the palms of their hands was drawn by the Edo period artist Toriyama Sekien. Mizuki drew on images like this. He investigated yokai legends all around Japan and adapted them for his manga. Many of the yokai he depicts have emotions just like humans. In the Gegege no Kitaro stories, yokai fall in love, feel jealousy, fight, and bargain with each other just like people. Here, two yokai are having a cup of tea in a cafe. Another plays baseball along with humans. Mizuki's manga shrink the distance between yokai and the human world. But Mizuki never confuses his yokai characters with human beings. He was inspired to make his manga from an experience he had during World War II. Mizuki was involved in frontline fighting on Rabaul Island off New Guinea. Somehow he survived the fierce battle and escaped inland. One night, as he was trying to find his way through the jungle, he suddenly felt he couldn't take another step. He felt as though an enormous yokai, like a wall, was blocking his path. He gave up trying to go any further and fell asleep on the spot. When he awoke the next morning, he saw there was a precipice just steps from where he was lying. He was convinced that the yokai he felt that night had saved his life. I feel things like that do exist. Even though you can't see them, they exist. And sometimes they even help us. If you have a Western education, you're not taught about these things. It's easy to sneer at them without giving them much thought. But I feel these mysterious presences do exist. They affect our lives to a certain degree, as they attach themselves to us and then detach themselves. Perhaps Mizuki's yokai manga have been inspired by that same presence felt by the people of Japan in ancient times, a reverence for the mysterious power of nature beyond human understanding, and a fear of events that are out of our control.